What's up, good people? What's up? What's up?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, yeah, good morning to you also, first and foremost.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. to a little coffee.
TGIF. Yeah, so we're in a bit of a different setting today. Decided to do it in the morning. You know, when you got kids and jobs and all that stuff, you really just got to kind of adjust on the fly. So that's what we're doing this morning.
What's been up with you? How was your week?
Man, I had an okay week. It was pretty busy, and I didn't work out as many days as I wanted to.
Why not?
I don't really know. I think a lot of factors hindered me from doing so. My knees were hurting Monday and Tuesday for no reason, like out of nowhere. Kids started coming in the room at like 2:30 in the morning on days that I knew for sure that I was going to get up and work. So it kind of threw me off a little bit, but...
Yeah, threw you off from your normal productivity.
From my normal, productivity and routine.
We haven't had that happen in like months.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
To where both of them have wake up overnight, come in our room, and it just disrupts the sleep pattern.
Terrible.
Like the other night, Parker came in at 2, then Nolan came in like an hour later. The night before that, they both climbing in our bed.
Then they arguing when they get in there.
Then they argue.
I'm like, bro, y'all, come on.
Like, y'all not even supposed to be in here. Then y'all have the nerve to be arguing. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, why are y'all in here? First off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nonetheless, how about you, though? You have a good week?
My week has been very busy as well. Work is working me. What?
That's what they supposed to do.
I know, but not that hard. Work is working me. And, yeah, I mean, I know you're supposed to work, but it's like I'm being pulled in so many different directions. And so we're talking about money today.
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Literally.
We've been, I'm saying we're going to have this conversation for a long time.
If you've been around for years, then y'all know that Tab promised y'all a financial conversation at some point. And that had to be like over 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. So if you remember that, drop in the comments down below. I remember.
What qualifies us, I guess, to have this conversation, man, first and foremost?
What qualifies us?
Yeah.
To have a conversation about money?
Yeah. Well, not have one about money, I guess. Be...
Credible?
Credible.
I mean, to the people, I guess nothing makes us credible.
So for full disclosure, we are not financial advisors. So, consult with your financial advisor before making any type of financial decision. I think that's a disclosure that all the YouTubers have to say whenever they're giving financial advice.
Oh, for real?
So we'll get a saying, because I think people can sue you.
Sue you for what?
Yeah, for getting on here telling them what to invest their money in, and they go do it, and if they lose, then they would in turn sue you because you were an advocate or you promoted a certain brand like FTX.
Oh wow!
They trying to sue Tom Brady. They trying to sue Shaq. They were running behind Shaq in the NBA game, trying to give him the papers to sue him.
To serve him.
So we're not financial advisors, and we are not trying to get sued. We just, we just a married couple with not even just advice, but we'll just, talk about some of the stuff, I guess, that we do and how we handle money, our outlooks, our perspectives, and how we look at it. First and foremost on here, man, you got marriage. Financial problems contribute to 20 to 40% of all divorces. And it's the number one issue married couples fight about. I wonder why. Why you think that? Your opinion.
I think that sometimes people or couples can fight over money because maybe there's miscommunication in how the money is managed or handled. Or let's say if you use the term my money, your money, and not our money, like it can make the person feel like, oh, we're not a team for real. So I think it's a lot, but I think like that's just my high level, surface level answer.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, I think a lot to go into that. I think that's a loaded question.
That's a conversation.
You know what I'm saying? We can start right there as far as questions to be asked on this list. Because I think, first and foremost, I think you touched on it, the my money versus your money.
Yeah.
I think it's an uneven balance sometimes. Like when you got somebody in the household that make far more than the other person in the household, and then you splitting bills or, things are separate, I think that creates separation in the, first and foremost in the finances. So of course it's going to create separation in daily communication or daily living or however you all chose to go about life. So I think that's first and foremost. And secondly, I think,
Well, why does it create separation?
I think it creates separation because let's just say if I'm throwing numbers out there, 200,000, and you made 56,000. We can be married, living in the same household, living two different lifestyles.
You saying if our money is separate?
If our money is separate.
Yeah.
So So in this context, our money is separate.
Okay. Yeah.
So you struggling to pay your bills, whatever bills you have, and then I'm paying mine, but I'm spending my excess money on designer, gambling, smoking, whatever vice that I might have.
Yeah.
And you feeling some type of way because you work your butt off for your 56,000, and you see me over here going to the mall every day with designer, bringing stuff back, and you're gonna start saying things like, "Man, it must be nice."
Right.
It must be nice. Such and such, such and such. That's the first divide, and I just think it grows. I just think it grows together.
Because that could turn into like lack of trust and like a whole bunch of things.
What you doing? Why you want me to see what you?
Why you want me to see your money?
Yeah, and it goes, and then it starts to snowball and get bigger.
And then side note, we're speaking of like marriage.
Yeah,
in terms of togetherness with money.
Yeah, and I think what helped us out a lot is the joining of our bank accounts. I know a lot of that's a controversial topic, or people might.
It's controversial?
I don't know if it's controversial. Well, I wouldn't say it's controversial. I just think people have their own opinions, as they do. Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
How they would handle their finances or their dealings in their own household. But I think in those situations, it's just how you look at money and how much you care about it.
And that's my second bullet point was research finds that those who pool their money together are more likely to stay together if you join.
Yeah. So after our proposal, we were trying to figure out, okay, if we're going to have a wedding or not. I think that's when we actually sat down and had a conversation about money. We had to make the decision whether we were going to have a wedding, not have a wedding, and focus on trying to buy a house. And to me, it was a no-brainer. I looked at it as it would be somewhat counterproductive if we were to have a wedding and still live in an apartment once we left the wedding, or we can get married and save for the house, something that's going to benefit us forever,
I was on the same page. Like I never dreamed of having a wedding, so I think it was easy for us to like, cool, checked off the list and like focus on the house. But like I feel like some couples may have where they have always dreamed of a wedding.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice to that? Like,
I would say have your wedding. I think it's different for each household and how people look at life. Because you got to think sometimes, that bride, she got a father that actually paid 70% of the wedding.
Yeah. True.
So she got everything that she wanted. So you can't say, hey, we gonna have one like this because they had one like that when you don't even understand how that worked over there.
Right.
Take comparison out of it and do whatever you want to do whatever that pleases your household.
Yeah, whatever. Like if you have goals, then try to stick to your goals, and if you don't, then yeah. That's the biggest thing. We had a goal. We knew we wanted to buy a house, and we knew we couldn't do both.
Right.
Because we didn't. Our families ain't saved no marriage money. Okay.
No. Yeah.
So it would have been loans and this and that, and it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to pay a house. So we were able to build our first house in our 20s. Well, we're actually able to build 2 houses in our 20s. By the way, how were you?
I think I was already 30.
Well, yeah. Well,
You were still in your 20s.
I was still 29, which was a great decision. I'm glad we were able to get on the same page about that because that paid off tremendously. Yeah, so we got on the same page about money right around the time that we got married.
I would say we got on the same page about saving for the house. I don't feel like we were necessarily on the same page in terms of money in general. You know what I mean? Like My viewpoint of money was completely different from yours.
Oh, you know what? It really
I was just on board with saving for the house.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't. We're just now, like, within the last few years, like, literally being on the same page when it comes to money.
Yeah. Nah, you are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. So we were not on the same page about money a lot of the times.
But we did get on the same page about saving for the house, and we instantly joined our money together as soon as we got married.
Yeah.
That was something we were just like, we were automatically on the same page about. And I think that had a lot to do with me just not having a lot of viewpoint on money. So he suggested, or however it happened, I was cool with it.
Yeah. So what it was, I remember now vividly. So before we got the house, I was, I just didn't have a good feeling. I was scared, trying to, buying a house, doing some stuff like that. Then we went from renting to owning, and the mortgage was going up. It was more than what we were paying, by only a couple $100. But I was still nervous. I feel like I was doggone almost depressed behind it. I was like, man, I never done this before, so I'm nervous about it. And
I'm over here shopping for the house.
She over here shopping for the house. She trying to add new floors to the house. She trying to add
white kitchen,
and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, bro, no.
And I'm like, what you mean no?
I just need the basic, and then we'll figure all that out later. So once we got in order to ease my mind, man, I ended up, I wouldn't even say it was something that I did, but I was at work and I was talking to one of my coworkers. He was just telling me about how he was debt free, everything but his house. And I had never met anybody that was grown, that didn't have any type of bills, debt, or anything like that, but their house.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? No. So you telling me your car's paid off, all the stuff that you got paid off, and you just pay your mortgage? And he was like, yeah. I said, no. Cap. Cap. So we continued, I met with him every Monday, man, and then he put me on this book, Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey.
Boy.
And y'all know me, if y'all been watching the vlog for a long time, then me and Dave personal player partner, man. So
for sure,
we ended up getting on the Total Money Makeover plan, man. We paid off a whole bunch of debt, and then my mind became at ease. And in order to get that done, I mean, we had to be on the same page. Yeah. We had money meetings every week. I created a spreadsheet where, that showed the debt payoff. We did the debt snowball. We were paying off cars, we were paying off credit cards.
What is the Ramsey thing for people who don't know, though?
Well, Ramsey?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, what's the
Total Money Makeover?
Oh, the Total Money Makeover is a 7-step plan to pay off debt.
His plan has a lot of steps, but the baseline of what we really focus on was paying off debt.
Yeah.
And I think how Tab got me on board, because when you first came home talking about Dave Ramsey and debt and all that,
she didn't want to hear.
I was so money illiterate. Like, I didn't know nothing. Like, we can pay our bills and I can still do what I want to do. Cool. We good to go. So I remember when you first came home with that, like, I was cool with it because I knew that he, like, was good with money. He the financial guru, whatever. So I'm just trusting in his ability to keep us straight when it comes to money. So, but I think what helped me understand the importance of it was actually seeing how much we pay every month in debt. Yeah. And when he showed me, like, if we get all this paid off, we're going to have all this extra money left over. Like, when you realize like what your debt to income ratio is, and you just sit down and look at what you're paying monthly on credit card bills, your car note, whatever the case is, and the idea of that being wiped out and being available money was crazy to me.
Yeah.
So that's how I got on board. I was on board because I just trusted Tab in general, like as a leader of our house when it comes to money, and just in general as a leader of our house over everything. So I feel like that has to be established first and foremost in a marriage, is like, do you trust your spouse? Because you could have came home saying that, and I could have not wanted to do that or believed in that, or like, absolutely not. I do not want to start budgeting. No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could have. And I think, like, trust, I also think it's having a plan. Like, all right, so having goals, having stuff to look forward to. And you, like, one thing you touched on is that you saw, like, how much that we were paying off. Like, you saw how much I showed you the vision. Mm-hmm. So you were able to buy into the vision. Because I showed it to you, and I showed you a plan, and I showed you how we were going to get it done, and it was possible, it was feasible. I know a lot of people out here, you know, we all have ideas, you know, as men or as people, like we have ideas that we like to bring to the table. And sometimes the plans may not be feasible. You know, we want to say, hey, I want to take half of your check and half of mine, and we're going to go put it all on crypto.
Right.
I'm going to trade Forex, and I'm going to make $1 million in a month.
Ooh, that's tough.
So
it's a balance of like
the
trusting
feasibility
your man.
of it, I think, is a conversation that still has to be had before it actually is executed or planned or gone toward. So I wouldn't just say, and I do appreciate you for trusting in my ability to do that and lead in that type in that situational environment, but also the wisdom and sometimes the negligence could be a sign like, hey, all right, hold on, we might need to slow down, you know, or whatever. Yeah. Long story short, it just evolves around communication.
Yeah, it evolves around communication and trust, because to your point, just because like if you're in a marriage and yes, the man is the head of your household, not the head of your household, head of your household, but the leader of your household, you got to make sure that he has a leader. You know what I mean? Like he has to be being led by somebody, God, another mentor in his life, because he could come home with some foolishness. Yeah. And we don't have to, we don't have to go for that. You know what I mean? Like follow your husband as a wife, but also be his support system. And like, you can provide understanding and wisdom too, because like to his point, just because you're the head of our household don't mean that you better come home and talk about we better put all our money in crypto. Yeah. Unless, like Tab said, maybe you have a plan built out. Maybe you sat down with financial advisors. Yeah. So I think, it just depends on how you've planned. For these things.
And men pay attention to that, man. I don't know who watching out there, but in order to get her to listen, you got to have a plan. And you got to start executing the plan, and then they will follow.
Absolutely.
You know? So don't just be giving out pipe dreams. You know, if you got pipe dreams, keep them to yourself for now. Put together a plan. This is how it's going to work. Then 9 times out of 10, she going to follow. So
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Follow a good example.
Follow a good example, if it makes sense, you know.
And like the benefits of that, just thinking about it, is that once we paid off, I can't even remember what our figure was in terms of what we end up paying off, but to put it in perspective, we were able to move from our old house, move and build our new house, which was double what our old house cost, without having to make any more money to be able to afford a house that was double. And it was more than double, actually, of what our old house was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like the mortgage is what.
The mortgage. So we were able to double, or just the house value.
Yeah.
Our house value, let's just say, was here. Our new house value was here. And our mortgage jumped from this to this substantially. The mortgage was double, but we didn't, at the time, our pay didn't change. But we had more available money because we had paid off debt. And so just that vision in itself is seeing like, oh, you can move, like, you know what I mean? Like you can change your lifestyle by paying off debt, and you don't even have to make more money. Right.
To touch on that, I think it's a freedom part of it that comes with paying off debt. You know, the Bible said, "Oh, no man nothing but love."
Also says if you owe somebody, you're like
you're a slave to the lender. So I don't want to be a slave to the lender. You know, and keep in mind, I mean, we still got big stuff that we pay off or whatever.
We ain't perfect like that.
We ain't perfect. We still working, but we just talking about more so the principles and the basics. But you imagine like a life with not that many bills.
Right.
Imagine a life with, you know, when you get your check, you got a whole bunch of money left over and you're able to actually see it. And you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't go to anyone that you don't want it to go to.
Yeah. You
can not have to go to work. That job that you hate, you can actually take a pay cut because you don't have all the bills that you had, you know, accrued over a certain amount of time. So I think it's a lot of factors that go into it that you got to think about as it relates to just money in itself, you know?
Mm-hmm. And actually, according to Ramsey, like if we take it back to marriage and the communication piece, it said that 31% of millennials have joint bank accounts compared to 49% of Gen Xers. So in our in our generation, we really don't want to share bank accounts. And I think that that's a part of the whole thing around trust and communication, because why don't you want to share a bank account with your wife or husband? Why don't people want to share bank accounts?
Well, I think people want to feel like this me. You know, I work hard for this money, and I'm gonna spend this money how I want to spend this money.
What's on
You
my
know,
face?
it's my it's a probably the son or something like that in that area. Yeah, you know, I work hard for the moolah, so I'm gonna spend it and get it right back. The culture in itself, and I think I think it's starting to change. You know, you got those media outlets like Earn Your Leisure, you know, Wall Street Chapel, Ian Dunlap, and Money Market Podcast. It's a lot of stuff out there, I think, or educational tools that to try to help. Well, that I think is help making that shift and turn it back around, and you know, make millennials more aware about money.
Yeah.
But I think first and foremost, I mean, it's it's just the music and the culture in itself. Like people want to get their money and spend it on what they want to spend it on. And sometimes what they want to spend it on is not what they're responsible for. You know, it's not the responsibility piece of it before you actually go and have fun. Sometimes it's the fun before the responsibility. And people don't want to be held accountable for that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want your eyes on my bank account because I'm about to go buy these products.
Yeah, and that
But I know the rent
crazy.
due, you know what I'm saying? But I'm about to go buy these products, and I don't want nobody to judge me, to know that that I really ain't got that much money on.
And that just caused
You know?
so much trust issues because, like, why don't you feel like you can share with me the things that you possibly want to go and purchase?
I just told. I mean,
No, I'm
yeah,
not saying you
yeah.
got to answer that. I'm just saying like that then in turns into lack of trust. That then turns into maybe some type of resentment. Because like you said, like I can't go buy all that stuff because I make less money than you, but you can. And versus like when you join your bank account, you truly see how much y'all have as one.
Yeah,
And like it's not just your income and your income. It's like now it's our income, and it just puts you in a whole different bracket.
Yeah.
Even if y'all make 50 and 50, y'all are a 6-figure household.
Yeah.
But you may not can ever realize that if y'all never bring y'all's money together.
Yeah.
Both of y'all in 6 figures, y'all 200, 300 plus household.
yeah. And if you're always separate, you know, then you always will be.
And like I ain't gonna lie, like when I want to buy certain things, Tab never makes me feel like I can't, but it also holds me accountable to like, girl, you do not need to buy that right now. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
not that I can't, and not that he has ever restricted me from going to buy whatever it is. It's just like some stuff when you look at it, it's like, yeah, let me just chill. Because you have an accountability partner.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like, I think you can view it that way more as an accountability, but people don't want to be held accountable, like you said.
Yeah.
But if you can view it as more of someone holding you accountable versus someone that's monitoring what you spend and like not trusting you with money, I think that can shift your perspective. What is your perspective on money? What is your perception of money? Like, how did you become a person who knew how to manage money, knew about saving? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just not everybody's case. So I think it's very important to touch on childhood and how you
Yeah.
became this financial guru.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think me personally, man, like we didn't have a lot of money growing up. I more so grew up always in survival mode, meaning that, you know, I wanted to make every dollar stretch as far as it could. And I was always conscious of how I spent money, where I spent money, and where the new money was going to come from, you know. So childhood growing up, man, I think I got my first introduction to like my own money. I was probably like 6, probably 7, I think. So Jeff, my uncle Jeff, man, shout out to Jeff. Jeff taught me how to play cards. It was a game by the name of Tunk. So Jeff taught me how to play Tunk. So I used to play Tunk with Jeff and my cousin Quan, and we would play Tunk for like 25 cents. And then whoever would win the most would go and buy candy. and then we would probably split the candy. But it was really just learning how to play and learning like how to actually go and get your own money. So I did that, and then I kind of graduated to shooting dice when I was probably in the 6th grade. That's when my partner Bebe taught me how to shoot dice.
You were bad.
So when I started shooting dice, it was over with. I was able to learn how to get money on my own fast without doing anything that was illegal. That's key. That's important. The illegal portion.
Yeah.
So I learned how to shoot dice, and then I learned how to. I think the shooting dice and gambling really teaches you how to manage your bankroll, is what we would call it.
When you're shooting dice?
After, before. So I break it down. We'll go by managing your bankroll. Let's just say if you win $600, there's a dice game every day. So you don't take the entire $600 to the dice game the next day, because there's a possibility that you're gonna lose the whole $600.
Yeah.
So you stash $500 or you stash $400, and you take $2 out to go and try to win some more.
Who taught you that?
Me. I just taught myself.
I know. So like you still like that's still you. Because did everybody do that, or would some people bring their whole $600 back and try to double that? Well, you said the dice game taught you that. It sounds like this is something that you inherently still did on your own.
Yeah, I did it on my own, but for the most part, that's how you're supposed to do it. Not everybody do it like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you don't want to take your whole bankroll back to the dice game the next day with the possibility of losing it all. In my opinion, So that was my frugality and how that was my portion of bankroll management, which kind of.
That's what I'm saying. You already still had that money management mindset.
I just told you why. Because of how I came up. Yeah, I was in survival mode, and I'm like, bro, nobody's going to give me any money.
Okay.
So if I lost all my money today, who is going to give me money tomorrow?
I got you.
And it wasn't, that many people that were going to be able to give me money tomorrow.
I got you.
So I'd be like, hey, let me get something, So
yeah.
And I think that even translates into today, like to this day. I ain't calling nobody to try to, let me get some money. Thank God I don't have to, at the moment. But I've never been the person to be like, hey, bro, let me get some money. I was always trying to figure out a way to go get some money on my own. Go get some money on.
Get your own money. Just
get my own money on.
say money on.
So I think that translated into that. And then, you the dice game, or gambling, or the hood, it just teaches you a lot of different values that can translate over to the to the corporate side of things. I'm a salesperson by trade, for people who don't actually know what I do for a living. So my goal is to go and sell to other businesses, manage the account, which is manage my bankroll.
Yeah.
And the more that I sell, the more money that I make. So the more numbers that I hit on the dice, the more money that I would make. So now the more things that I sell, the more money that I would make. So I'm always in control, I think, for the most part, of my bankroll. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you answered how your money, how your perspective on money was formed.
Yeah.
And it was survival mode and like stash away what you have, because the next day is not guaranteed for you to get money.
Facts.
So you in yourself were a saver naturally, because based on how upbringing or whatever.
Yeah.
See, for me, I feel like, I was raised by a single mom, and money from my perspective was not an issue. Okay. Like I knew my mom was a single mom, but I also knew that whatever we wanted, we would get. And so I think, and her motto was, tomorrow's not guaranteed. So we're going to live and spend today. And we did. However, my mom managed her house as a single mom. Growing up, we didn't go without, nor did I feel like I didn't push that limit either, because I knew that she was a single mom, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I knew that if I asked, I could get it, but I also knew that there could be some potential constraints that I'm putting her in by asking her for certain things.
Yeah.
So what that instilled in me was, I want to get my own money so I don't have to ask my mom for money, because I know she's a single mom, and I had a younger brother. So mine was just more of like, I could ask her and I know that she would get it for me, but I also want to be independent and get my own money so I don't have to ask her for anything. But I made money to spend money. Like, even like my first job, I was 12 and I would go clean my grandparents' house for $12 so I could go to the movies at night. And I'm gonna be flat broke at the end of the night. But I had money to go. So like my motto was make money to spend it. Saving what? Saving for what? Tomorrow I might not wake up tomorrow. So I'm about to spend today. And so when we got together, we're opposite.
You were just that.
I was that. I'm spending today.
You were definitely that.
Yeah, that's how I was raised.
And we was, we had inherited some stuff that you had not even spent today. Spent 1,200 days ago.
Facts.
That we had to go back and pay for because you were spending them days.
Spending.
All in the past. You know
and
what I'm
thank
saying?
God I lived to see another day, but I lived to have that debt.
So, also, I mean, that happens. Sometimes you inherit something that you didn't create,
You talking about as a married couple?
As a married couple.
Yeah.
When it comes to debt and just in itself and just be willing to say, hey, we still on the same page. You might have done that. But money is the ultimate renewable source is one thing I learned, meaning that you can always, as long as you breathing, you can always go and get some money on.
You can always find a way to get some more money.
You can always find a way to go get some money on. So don't let it really just take over your life, from a good or bad way. If you don't have enough or if you got too much or if you want too much, don't let it be the main thing, to just keep you living. And that's coming from a person where it was, like I still enjoy the thrill of getting money. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even that I enjoy spending money. I just enjoy the thrill behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like the thrill of making the money. If I make the million, then it's not a thrill to go spend it. For you, you know what I'm saying? It might be a thrill to go spend it, but for me, it's that was fun.
Yeah, and I definitely still feel like we have a different viewpoint on that too, because if we have it and we want something, then let's go get it. Whereas like you're still, which is good, but you're frugal and you're like, okay, yeah, we want it, but let's just see if we can find it somewhere else. Let's just see if, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I want it right now.
Yeah. One thing I do live by, man, is more so like along the lines of a 30-day rule. So I got to see it 3 times and say, all right, I want it. I want it. I want it. And then I'll buy it. So I'll never buy anything on the first time that I see it.
Ever.
I don't care how hard it is, boy. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's just 60% off. But even with 60% off, it's still 40% on. You know what I'm saying? So 50% off is still 50% on. So you're going to have to, for me, I got to really want it before I even buy it.
But I think you'll buy gifts the first time you see it.
What, gifts for other people?
Yeah, like, when you brought me like the watch and the earrings, like you had not seen those things prior.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me personally. Yeah. Like I gotta really want it. I don't just like recklessly go buy stuff that I don't really want. I gotta really want it, and it's gonna be what I want. It ain't even just trendy or something crazy. It might be some AirPod Maxes.
I learned that from you too. Like, don't be so quick to impulse buy, because I'm definitely an impulse buyer. Like if I see it for the first time, I want it right then because it might be gone tomorrow. Yeah. And it's like, that's actually not the case. It might not be in this particular store, but that's not the one and only product unless you're at some type of antique place. I don't know. But I have learned that from you to just be slower when making purchasing decisions and just being more methodical about purchasing certain things. Or like, okay, you see it the first time, and if you go home and still think about it, then you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes we'll see stuff and we if we don't buy it and we go home, we never think about it again. And then you come back home with whatever you just bought. Where was I at? Oh yeah, I was at the eye doctor the other day, and my deductible is met, and I didn't need any new glasses prescription wise. And she's like, "Oh, you can get some shades." I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to do that in high school." Long story short, I'm trying on shades, doing this, doing that, and I picked out some shades that cost like $700, which I didn't know that was a price. Long story short, my balance was $200. And I would have purchased the glasses because they would have had my prescription in there. I got prescription glasses now. But in that moment, I was like, hold on, you gave me the idea of getting almost basically free sunglasses.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm sitting at the table and you telling me it's 200. Like the old me wouldn't have been able to potentially tell that woman no, because I've worked through just the fear of rejection or just being more confident in how I say no. The old me would have probably walked up out of that eyeglass store with some $200 glasses that were really $700 or $800, came home, and Tab would have been like, bro, now why you done went in there and spent $200 on some sunglasses that you didn't even walk in there thinking about? And it would have been because I wouldn't have known how to say no.
Yeah, yeah.
In that moment, I told her, I was like, oh, no. I was like, no, I was really just trying to get whatever was free. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, you can come back and we can browse some more. Because at that point, I was like, girl, no. But all that to say, I learned that from you in terms of like purchasing things out of impulse or feeling pressured by the salesperson.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is my money. And I'm going to spend it when I want to, how I want to, where I want to, on what I want to.
Facts. No is important, man, because there's a lot of people and places that are waiting to take your money. Mm-hmm. They thrive on taking your money. Mm-hmm. The more you have, the more they'll take, the more you're willing to give to them. So no is important, and it's an important word, you know.
Yeah, and knowing what you want.
And knowing what you want.
Knowing what you want. Do you feel like it was a struggle for us to get on the same page about money?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was. Is that the end of the question? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it was an easy transition. You know, when I was reading Dave Ramsey, you know, and I brought the book home, and you probably saw the book all the time and wanted to throw it in the trash, wanted to kick it. You know what I'm saying?
He brought it on vacation with us. I'm like,
to rip the pages out of it. You know,
Dave is not coming on vacation with us.
You were probably tired of me from doing that, but I think that was like one of the first books that I actually sat down and like read from front to back in a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was that easy to get on the same page because you were still in your mindset and I was far from that mindset. Like if this your mindset and this mine, then like I wouldn't even know what it wasn't even the middle ground. Like I was so far over here, and then I'm like, bro, how can she think like that? Like we can't do that.
Yeah,
we can't do that. You know, you got to take calculated risks when it comes to finances and things like that. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about tips.
How did we get on the same page? How did we shift? Well, I think I can answer that question. Like, how did I get on your page? Because you didn't get on my page. His page made sense. And once you like, I think when you go through your, like for me and my personal journey of self-awareness, you can come into the understanding like, girl, you don't know anything about money. This man does. So trust him and follow his lead in terms of the area that you're an expert in. Like maybe not an expert, but you're much more knowledgeable in the area than me. And it's pride. Like a lot of times it's just pride and you want to continue to operate in a way that you want to, or you have been. You lead in a way that's not dictatorship. You know what I mean? Like I basically am the one who does our spreadsheets and calculates all this and calculates all that. And so he involved me in it in a way to where I understand it, but also it helped me get on the same page, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I think
that makes sense.
Yeah. It's inclusive, you know. I think where it comes confrontational is when, let's just say if I were to say, hey, give me your check. This what you can spend, this what you can't.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're not even a part of the conversation. So that's what I didn't want to do or didn't even attempt to do or didn't even try to do, didn't even think it was a good idea. So I made a spreadsheet. That's what I did. Excel, spent some time making an Excel. And you pretty much handle the money, like you just said. Like you go in, put in I put in all the numbers, I put in all the things. I set it up where you're able to be a part of it and be inclusive in it and actually run the numbers for the money on a weekly basis. Well, you know, we on the same page. You see it before I do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you know you're inclusive of what we're doing, and you understand like, okay, if we do this, if we do that, we do that, then we can do this. So I think it's just it go back to the conversation piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, and communicate.
And partnership in a marriage.
Yeah.
And realizing each other's strengths. Like Tab's strength is not to stay on top of the admin portion of our money. It's just not. But what his strengths are was in building it, developing the system for it, and my strengths are executing it. My strength is being able to line by line do all the little admin type stuff to where he's already like vision. Like just tell me what the number is that we working with, and then I'm a visualize everything that we gonna do with it. And so it's just like it's just understanding your spouse and y'all play on each other's strengths, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like understand which area y'all are gifted in and naturally good at, and operate in that.
Yeah.
When it comes to managing y'all's money, we have a money meeting once a week.
Yeah. Every Wednesday, 1
Every
o'clock.
Wednesday, we have a money meeting, and y'all's money meeting can be on the days that you get paid. That's how we do it.
It's a conversation people really want to shy away from. Like when it comes to the money, they just argue and they don't even understand what they're arguing about or why. Because to your point, you know, if you're not included in it, or if we're not having these conversations, then we'll never get any type of progress, you know.
Yeah.
We'll always be separate, and we won't necessarily have consistent goals with what we want out of life and what we want out of our money. And the money can't really work for us. It can work against us.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, if we spend it so much of it that we don't even understand where it's going or how it's getting there.
And like how that can lead into other areas of separation in a relationship. It can lead to intimacy being affected. It could lead to trust being affected, communication, all because we can't get on the same page about money. Clearly, it's a big issue if it's a second reason people get divorced. And I think that just goes to show that it ties into so many other areas of your relationship.
I was add to it and just say, you know, the separation that it creates, it can be detrimental.
Clearly.
Because I think in all situations, it's like, as men, we got to get some money.
Yeah.
Like, you know, bottom line, I don't think, you know, don't nobody want nobody broke. If we just being quite frank. If you broke now, then have potential to get some money. You know, have potential, have a plan, have a some in place where she like, okay, if I stick with him long enough, then we gonna be good to go.
Yeah, and it's not even like just rich. It's just,
it ain't even just rich. It's just, you know, being able to take care of the household, because they start to lose confidence in you when they feel as though you can't do that. You know, dang, I ain't gonna be able to. My kids can't even go to Disney or daycare or, you know, certain things like that, and then they start looking at you some type of way, and you like, oh yeah, and you playing the game.
You betting.
You betting. You know, you over there chilling, parlaying. When she over there like, bro, you need to get up off that couch and go get some money so we can go to the fair.
Can lose confidence.
You know, and then that's money management. Or I think that's a argumentative segment.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It can get there.
And I feel like
try not to.
If you know that that's an area that you may not be that literate in, then there's so many resources out there to gain information on how to save money, how to manage money, how to invest. We just have to take the steps. Like just if you want to look better, if you want to get a six pack, you're going to take the steps to get it. You're going to start eating healthier. You're going to start working out. So if you want to learn how to manage your money, then there's so many resources out there that will help us learn how to manage our money.
Facts.
Because it's all about stewardship, and we can touch on like what the Bible says about money. The goal is not to get more money. The goal is to steward well with what you have. Like learn how to steward what you have. If you make $1,000 a week, learn how to steward that. Because you're not gonna. What makes you think that a blessing may come for you to get $10,000 a week if you don't know how to manage the $1,000 a week that you're getting or the $100 a week that you're getting? Like learn how to steward well with what you have, and then, you know, that's when more blessings can come upon you. And more blessings does not always mean monetary. It could just be whatever it is.
I think that's the case in a lot of different cases. Like the lack of understanding about money definitely influences our lifestyles, our behaviors on well into adulthood as well as our elderly ages, you know, because that doesn't come with time or age, the understanding behind money. It just comes with the ambition to learn more about it and how to effectively use it whenever you get it. And key word, whenever you get it, because we all get it, you know. We all get some type of money, no matter where you work at or where where it comes from. Everybody is getting money. The hard part is keeping the money.
Yeah.
And telling the money where to go whenever you do get it. Like, that's the hard part. And I think that goes back to discipline and what you want out of life. Looking forward to your families, like changing generations and setting yourself up and not even just being selfish, thinking about you, but also thinking about your kids, and your kids. Would you want them to work for someone the rest of their life?
Right. Would you want them to work for somebody the rest of their life, but also have money as their master? You know what I mean? Like the Bible says you can't serve two masters. And I think in our culture, we serve money because of just the financial illiteracy that we have in terms of how to manage it, how to save it, how to invest it, how to do anything with it. And so in turn, like, your whole life you just chasing money. Your whole life you never have enough money. Your whole life you struggling. Your whole life is all wrapped around money, and the money's not working for you. You're working for the money.
Right.
And so it's not even about like setting our generations up to be rich. It's setting our generations up to have money work for them, and we not be a generation that's always serving money.
Yeah. And to be free.
Yeah, and to be free.
I think being free is the most important thing here. Because if you're free, then you're able to operate as your true self.
Right.
Like you're able to wake up in the morning with a clear mind. Like, bro, what am I good at, and what do I love doing as a person? Like, what is the gift that God gave me, and how can I bring it out? How can I harness it? How can I water it to make it be something to help the world? You can think like that. You can think clear when you're not clouded by the money,
and when you're not a slave to it,
and you're not a slave to it.
Yeah.
So I think it frees up so much of your time. It allows you to be who you are as a person, and it allows you to not have to operate in survival mode, and you operating from a conscious and clear mind.
Yeah, and also just on that whole freedom aspect, it's like you'll move into a place of where eventually, like, y'all remember in that show Everybody Hates Chris, where she was like, I don't need this job, my man got 3 jobs. It's like you'll move into, I don't need this job, I got 1 bill, or I got 2 bills. Or you've learned how to let your money make money. You've learned how to invest in other things. You have a side hustle. Like, you have more than one stream of income, and you're just free from anybody just having, and that's not us right now. Like, we literally still work.
We are working,
but it's like we're striving for that.
Yeah.
We're striving to not owe anybody anything fully. Now, student loans, who cares? Literally, who cares? But it's like, in terms of your job, because you could be a slave to your job too, because you are a slave to your bills. You are a slave to the money. So you are a slave to your job. Like, you're just a slave to money and your job and just the things in life that's controlling you. And it's biblical to not be in debt to anybody. It's biblical to steward your money well, and just all the things.
And we'll put we instead of you, and just stand, as if we like preaching to y'all saying, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. We're gonna say we. Yeah, we. Because we still will be a slave. Like, we'll do this, we'll do that, because we not excluded. We still trying to figure it out. It's just, the point of this conversation is just to shed light on it and let us all know that it's a better way of living out there,
Right.
A more free
way
of living and conducting life. Understanding that you have a chance to change your life. God willing. Mm-hmm. With the help of God, whatever He got for you, it is for you. And you got the opportunity to get it done every day in and day out.
Yeah.
And I am aware, man, there are perceived obstacles that may hinder your ability to get to some of the places that you may feel like you can, but understand that you got a chance. Like, we not living as we were, 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You got the opportunity to get it done, man. At this point, it's really nobody's fault but yours.
Facts. Basically, like, move out of that victim mindset.
Yeah, move out of the victim mindset and say, hey, yeah, I understand how I came up, but that's not how I'm going to go down. You know? But as far as the money part, man, if we want to go ahead and wrap this up, one thing we didn't really talk about is getting a budget. So a budget is a real thing, and it's not lame. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's not a word that you just hear and you don't do any research on it. You don't actually get one. A budget really helped change our life from a financial standpoint. That way we're able to see all the inputs, calculate them from the outputs, and see how much that we have to actually do what we want to do, some of the things that we talked about. So first and foremost, man, just get a budget in place. Secondly, man, get some plans. Put some stuff down that you want to look forward to. Vacation, or paying off your car, or whatever it may be. Always have something to look forward to. I always told y'all that. So get a budget, have something to look forward to. And 3, man, just learn yourself. Sit down with yourself, learn what you like, man, and hone in on you and you as a person. Like stop with all of stop being so impressionable, and be the one that's impressive. Be the one that's done work with, on themselves. They understand what they want out of life, man, and just become more ambitious in getting that done. So that'll be my 2 cents for whatever it's worth.
Yeah. Become more confident in who God created you to be.
Yeah.
So we've talked about money this whole conversation, and I hope that it's coming across in a way that money isn't the center of everything. You have to have money to survive, but it's like, learn how to allow money to work for you, and understand that when we die, that we hope that we have built our eternal treasures versus building only earthly treasures that literally can't go with us. And so I would just leave y'all with that. I think that's like Matthew 6:19. It says, don't store up treasures here on earth where moths can eat them, rust destroys them, where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasures in heaven where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. So just focus on eternal values and just not idolizing money, not only chasing money and all that. So we hope this was helpful. We hope that y'all can take away some tips from this. We hope that you just learn something, and we on this journey together. We're all on this journey together. We're all in this thing called life together, and we're all just striving to get it right every day. And I just pray that this conversation helps whoever is meant to help, individuals, married people, whoever it might be. Let me know in the comments below, man, if this is something that was beneficial. Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all. We will see y'all in our next video. Bye.